all this mess we're living through. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman.
I'm not afraid.
And a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid.
Italian by birth.
I'm not afraid.
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Here we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. This is the final part of the first hour. Very important news. Last Sunday, during the second hour, I had a guest, Mr. Eric Parker from the 3%ers of Idaho, and we talked specifically about the situation of a veteran, U.S. veteran, Marine veteran, U.S. Marine veteran, Mr. Barbeau, that is being detained, is still detained in federal prison for charges not only of, let's say, possessing a weapon that does not fit the criteria of Class 3A NFA 1934. That means you don't have the stamp, the $250 stamp or whatever it is, $200 stamps, and of course the barrel was a little too short. That's another story. We were talking about Mr. Barbeau detained with the domestic terrorist charges and no bail. So something very important happened during the interview. Very strangely, the interview was done, and the morning after, when I was ready to broadcast it, was gone, at least half of it, the most important part. So I don't know, but whatever. Eric went to see in person, I think, the trial, at least the pre-arrangement of the trial. Let's ask him directly what happened, because I know that he has more updates. Eric, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, nice to meet you. Merry Christmas. And please, give us the updates. Exactly where did you go or what did you see? I know that you have some updates about Mr. Barbeau case.
Yeah, I was over in Seattle for the court date. And it was pretty interesting. I showed up to John Ritzheimer playing Blaine Cooper, reading the Constitution, and they were playing it over a PA system in front of the federal building.
Wow!
So that was kind of epic. That was nice. There was quite a few people there. You know, we were hoping there would be more, but we understood, you know, it's 2 days before Christmas. But he did have some supporters there, and we went into the courtroom, and he was happy to see us. First of all, you know, that's important.
Yeah.
He had a big smile on his face when they brought him out, and he saw that he had his friends there. So that was good. It was pretty cut and dry. You know, the interesting part is that during the charges, none of the domestic terrorism stuff came up. Nothing about ties to domestic terrorism, nothing about this bag of explosives that's missing in the woods that the Allen's family helped him hide. All these things that the FBI and the media were talking about and alluding to. Not one of those things came up in that courtroom. His only charge is possession of an unregistered short barrel rifle, no tax stamp.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it.
Wow.
Now that's no joke. It's carrying 10 years.
Wow.
It's a 10-year sentence possible. So, you know, I'm not making light of it by any means, but the interesting part is all of this narrative that they've been spinning for the past 2 weeks, not one thing came out of the prosecuting attorney, the judge, not one iota of any of that. So what to make of that, I don't know. Do they know they don't have a case? I don't know.
If I
Do
can
they
say,
just want to smear his name in the media?
let me ask you something. This is important because I'm not a lawyer, but normally the prosecution must provide the evidence, at least to make the case. You can just start to add these things later. I mean, whatever you have, bring it on now, because then also this man right now is in jail and he has the right to post bail. But so far, seems like that the reason why at the beginning they didn't want to allow him to post bail because was this domestic terrorism, very gray area, big word, but no foundations, no proofs, and now they don't even bring it to the judge. So it's just pretty much like all they have on him. It is the short barrel, the no stamp, and of course we know very well that can be very hard if they want to throw the book at you, because that's I think it's at least, you say 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is at least 5
10
years. Wow, 10 years because you don't pay a tax.
Because you didn't pay a tax.
Wow.
Right.
Thank
An
you.
Unconstitutional act.
Yeah, I mean, like tomorrow they want to put a tax. I was saying after, our interview was cut off, I was trying to bring it back. Think how much, guys, if anybody believes in the Bill of Rights, and forget about if you believe or not that, you like or not guns or whatever, but if you believe in the Bill of Rights, if you have freedom of speech, you believe that the government should allow you to have the freedom of speech only if you are able to pay a tax. Because that's what it's about. That 1934 National Firearm Act, it would be completely unconstitutional. Just thinking about, because you can exercise that right, that doesn't become a right anymore, but now is a privilege. Because if you want to do it, you must pay a tax. So next time, let's say when you want to go to vote, you must have a tax. You must pay a tax. For example, you must have a special ID maybe, okay? Or you must have something that normally the average person cannot have. That's so wrong. Or even better, freedom of speech. You can speak only if you have an insurance or you pay a tax to the government. So that's the bottom line. And right now, it is not even just some sort of, they're trying to put, this stuff is real. I mean, people go and their life get ruined and you can go to jail for years, okay, and become a felon and no more gun rights. Now the point is, what did they say about bail, since this was the only charge?
Right, and that's where I was going with that. They didn't bring any of that stuff up that they were alluding to, and then there was still no talk of bail. The court proceeding went really fast. It was, here's the charge. How does the defendant plead? He pleaded not guilty through his lawyer. And that was it. Judge got up and left.
Wow. Wow.
They gave a date coming up. I'm not sure off the top of my head what the next date is, but it was pretty fast. That's good. They're trying to keep him in a speedy trial. He has that right. So
Mr. Barbeau, does he have a lawyer, a real lawyer, or some sort of public defender?
Public defender.
Wow, that's good.
So I did a little research and looked into him when I got up there into Seattle, and he seems to be a relatively good lawyer. He's been in some pretty mainstream cases and does a pretty good job from what I can tell. I asked the lawyer, I had a chance, I was standing there with Schuyler's mom while she was talking to the lawyer, and I asked about bail, if they didn't, and I asked him if they didn't bring any of these things that they were alluding to back up, why can you not ask for a bail to be set so he can maybe go home for Christmas?
Yeah.
And he told me that that's not how it works, that they had to wait for the next one or something. I'm no lawyer. I don't know. I did say, what I would like to see out of my friend's attorney is maybe telling the judge that this is an unconstitutional act that he's been charged with, non-compliance, and that the judge has the duty to dismiss it. And that's who it falls on. It's his responsibility. It's the judge's responsibility. It's the lawyer's responsibility to bring this up. I told him it's case law, Mulberry, and that if he doesn't know that case, that maybe he needs to look that up, because an unconstitutional act is not a law, and it doesn't have to be enforced, and it should be dismissed.
No, I understand what you're
And
saying, Eric. There is only a couple problems, my opinion. In this case, trust me, when they want to make an example, and I hope I'm wrong, don't get me wrong, but normally when the federal government wants to make an example out of somebody, they shop around for judges, okay? This judge is not just an accident, okay? And yes, we can, at the end of the day, we know very well, there's also a Supreme Court case, said that every law against the Constitution is null and void, and there is no treaty that can infringe or can be above the Constitution. But at the end of the day, now we are living in a new America that even we know that we had, or we still have in my book, the Bill of Rights. At the end of the day, we are almost in plain view of a blank tyranny. This is no more some sort of a hidden message. Now it's on the open, and the only people who are right, who has the longer rifle, the bigger guns. In this case, the government proving the case, they have all the guns, or almost all the guns, so they think. So, yes, I understand. But the problem is the judge still works for the government, he works for the state. And I would never see, unless it would be a miracle, and I still believe in miracles, but 99.9% of these people working as judges, all they're doing now, they're rubber stamping, what this new federal tyranny has been taking over the last at least 50 years in this country, if not more. Think about it. 1934, we're in 2015. How many times people their life is being ruined, or they went to jail because they just had, maybe by accident or even by will, just because they wanted to challenge this unconstitutional law, a barrel maybe half inch shorter, and now they became super criminal felons. How many times? And that's the problem. After you let it pass for so many years, now that's the way it is. And I'm sorry, I hope to be wrong, but unless there's going to be a very big awakening at us as we the people, like almost happened at the Bundys, I don't think the judges, they're going to do anything but just keep doing what they've done all these the last 70, 60 years at least, But we will see. We will see. I hope to be wrong. I was going to ask you, did you have a chance to talk in person with Mr. Barbeau? How's it doing? Did you have a chance to talk?
No. The closest we got was sitting in the pews when they brought him in. He, like I said, he had a big smile on his face when he saw his friends. We all had a little bit of banter back and forth, which he enjoyed.
Did you talk to the mom at all in person?
Yeah. I talked to his mother and I talked to his brother, and I spoke to the lawyer a little bit.
Did you talk to the mom about, because this, I think for everybody going to federal prison, even you're waiting, it's terrible experience. And unfortunately, in this waiting holding time, even before you go to trial and you're sentenced, they still treat you like a criminal anyway. So not like they put you in a special room. It's still, this is not Hotel 6, okay, Motel 6. So the point is, I wonder, really, if we could talk to him one day, really what's going on. Because, these bastards, unfortunately, when they have an agenda, we know that, they treat you as a political dissident. Look what happened to Bosworth in that few hours that he was detained in that federal facility, okay? They can create their own reality there. This is not more about fair process. They can really be harsh on you. So we don't know what's going on with this guy, So I wish we knew more.
Well, he didn't look beat up, so that was good. I noticed that. He looked, he didn't look like he got roughed up at all. So
that's good. That's good. I hope we're gonna have decent people, even whatever people decent you can find. But sometimes, it's funny. We are so brainwashed sometimes just because you are in the system. Okay, let's say you are part. Okay, let's say tomorrow, Mr. Barbeau becomes a felon. The rest of his life is gonna be branded as a felon. But people maybe sometimes forget that any one of us now today, even the best, most decent people, we can become felons. Think about it. So it's sometimes, that's going to be the very scary thing. What's supposed to be the prison or the jail for the real bad people, now it's going to be used against decent people. Look at this. He's a veteran. He's a guy who loves this country, who loves the Constitution. For what I heard, never been convicted of any crime, or at least nothing violent and nothing that I know about it. And now, boom, if this goes through, he's going to be ruined the rest of his life, and whenever he's going to try to apply for a job or talk to somebody, he's being branded as a felon. So that's the point. Who knows how many other people like him, they are right now in these federal prisons, I call them almost political jails, that they are using the books, these unconstitutional laws, to destroy our lives. So let's always have an open mind. For example, now the people in Oregon, I mean, the Hammonds, I mean, technically they are felons. Guess what? These people, for me, they are probably, I don't know, for what I read and what I studied, is they are like the most exemplary citizens you can get, but their life is ruined. So that's my point. We need to really be open now when we hear about people being in prison. It's like, what happened really to you? Let's ask, what happened? Don't trust everything the government says just because they can control the judges. Please.
No, I couldn't agree more with you. It's too many people, and I feel bad that I'm only involved because he's my buddy.
Yeah.
But when you sit there in that courtroom and think about how many people have been railroaded and had their rights stripped from them, voting, they'll never be able to vote or arm themselves, or that's very true.
Well, how did you go? How did you reach Washington? By car or by airplane? How did you go there?
Oh, I drove.
Well, how many hours, if I can ask you?
It's about a 12-hour drive.
And that
it took a little longer because of the storms.
Yeah, I was thinking about there is snow and cold and ice. I mean, and I was thinking about you and John Ritzmeyer, all the way from wherever he's in. Normally, he's always around, but normally last time I was in Phoenix. So a lot of people that, like yourself, guys, you commit yourself to try to help your friend and brother, and it also takes a toll on your family, personal expenses. I mean, gas, time, eat, food, lodging. Where did you sleep? I mean, if I can ask you questions like that.
Yeah, I happen to this time have family in the area, so I slept there this time.
Good.
So yeah, it does. I mean, you bring up an interesting point. We've been going at this for a year, just as far as the movement, the 3% of Idaho, and working with the Oath Keepers and working with the Pacific Patriot Network, and it seems like we're driving around the state every weekend. Staying in motels and trying to get communities engaged. It does. It's an unsustainable dream sometimes.
That's why we need to have more people involved. Few of you guys or few of us cannot do it all. We need to have now the average person, wherever you live, start to get activated and active, even just with your First Amendment, even just to speak up, even just to write letter to the editors or be witnessing, anywhere we are. Because unfortunately, this is going to happen everywhere. Now we have some few pockets that are going to be the hot pockets the next few months, like, the Hammond in Oregon or Washington with Barbeau or some other areas. But the point is Nevada, but it's going to happen everywhere. We need all of us everywhere we are. That's what's supposed to be also the local militia. We're supposed not to start to go cross-country traveling. But right now, at least you lead by example, trying to inspire others in these areas. I want to give you the floor.
Yeah, and that's what's important about the 3% movement. Since we're not a state militia or any kind of organized militia, we have a lot more ability to involve ourselves where we see fit.
If people want to support you or give you a donation, you have a website, even just to try to help you out with gas money or things like that.
Yeah, we have a PayPal email address, donations at %idaho.org. Okay. And, my vow to you, anybody donating, we use
perfect.
every bit of the funding to build.
And the website, again, the website, because probably it's easier to go there and they check you out and then they can give you a donation. What is the website for you guys?
So the website, I think it's Idaho or %Idaho. I'm not really sure. The best way to do it is just find us on Facebook.
Okay.
You enter us into the Facebook and our organization page will come up.
If you send me the link, I will post your website on today's show, so the listeners can go to lovegunsfreedom.com, today's show, and they can find out. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do on the homepage, even better. I'm going to put your link directly on lovegunsfreedom.com with your website straight to you guys. So if people wants to find out what you do, if they want to give a donation, I really invite you, okay?
Yeah, we appreciate that. Every bit helps,
Perfect. Listen, I got 3 more minutes. I give you the floor. I'll shut up. Whatever you want to say. Go ahead, please.
So there was one thing. As I was speaking to Schuyler's mother in the hallway, there was a group of DHS. There was a lot of DHS around. And you can tell they were on high alert. And you could tell that they probably had a briefing that morning about the right-wing extremists coming. And the fact of it is, I was standing there in the hallway, and a group of them came down the elevator, and I don't know where they were. They were probably in the judge's quarters or something, but they were all tacked up. And I introduced myself to each one, and I told them my name, and I shook their hand. And that's been, I put that on the Facebook, and some people misconstrued that a little bit, and maybe I wasn't specific enough. But my point was to show them that we meant them no harm, and no matter what was said in those briefings that morning, that we're not terrorists, and we're not looking for violence. We're worried about our friend who's being held with no bail. We're worried about our Constitution, and I know that most of them are good men too, and Americans, and believe in the Constitution. And they probably got all hyped up that morning in their briefing about the extremists coming and be prepared to put them down. And
wow,
that's not what I wanted to make sure that I looked them in the eye and showed them that I'm an unarmed American citizen concerned about my friend. And that's all it is. That they're going to try to pin us against each other, Americans against Americans. That's what scares me about what happened at the Bundy Ranch, and that's why we are so involved every weekend. It's about breaking that paradigm so that Americans don't ever have to point guns at American citizens and tell them that they've been authorized to use lethal force. We don't want that to ever happen again. And if we can open up those communications and show them that we're just people, that they're being lied to, that's our mission. That's part of our mission.
I agree. And I think I'm glad you did what you did, because that's very important. Regardless that some of these people, they may like what they're doing. The point you show that you have the high moral ground, and you're there as a law-abiding person, and all you want to do is support your friend. And at the end of the day, this Homeland Security, they have sons and grandsons one day, or grandchildren, and they will pretty much leave behind the America that they are creating now with their inactions or actions, depending on what they're doing, to their children. So they need to understand now what's happening to Mr. Barbeau. It will happen to maybe one of their sons or their daughters. So it's very important you did what you did, because we are not the enemies. Unfortunately, the enemies is trying to divide and conquer. That's what they're doing. These globalists, the hyper levels that they are the management, even of the Homeland Security, they're following the orders of this global elite, and they want to destroy this republic. That's the bottom line. So we need to unite, and I hope more people from the federal government agents understand that this is completely new tyranny, and they don't need to follow the orders just because they think it's an order. Okay, even Hitler was giving orders. You don't have to do that. Okay. So anyway, listen, I want to thank you again for your activism, for what you're doing. Hopefully, I always believe in miracles, believe it or not. But I believe that the most important miracle is going to be the American people must wake up, and up with millions of us, millions. So every one of us can do a little bit. And doing that, we can keep it peacefully, and we can take this country back in the system, within the system. Now, Eric, thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you and your family, okay?
Yeah, you too. It's good to talk to you, as always.
Thank you. And please, guys, don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. We're going to be ready now for our number 2. We have a great guest, Cope Reynolds. We'll talk about some great gun talk and also some training. And also, don't forget, our number 3, I have my own little recipe, how to defend our freedom and how to stand up against the New World Order. It's going to be my little, let's say, analysis. After many years studying and going through this situation, I give you my solution, at least my humble solution. And if you want to keep supporting this show, I'm not here begging for corporate sponsors, but I need your help. You can go to lovegunsfreedom.com, or you can go to zannaart.com. One of the things I do for a living, I write songs. And you can download any of my songs for just 99 cents, and doing so, we can keep the show free from any corporate control. Thank you very much. Be ready for our number 2. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna.
Fight! Revolution! Reverse! show who we really are. Revolution, a peaceful solution, but we're not afraid to stand for what is right. The day will come when we'll all be gone. What are we waiting for? Let's live with honor. Let's go, they've pushed our limits. Where's our pride? Are we already dead? Or are we still